This is Abhijit Nandi Mazumdar and welcome to ANM News. We are bringing stories from all over the globe. We had this Ria Chakravarti incident happening throughout the day that we had the Indo-China standoff, but then let me take you straight across to Trinidad and Tobago to a different kind of news where we'll be talking about the Indian diaspora and how well the Indians are doing in Caribbean. Well, you of course you've heard about Brian Lara, the cricketing legend. You've heard about Shiv Narayan Chandrapal, you've heard about Sunil Narayan, you've heard about a whole Darren Bravo, you've heard about a whole lot of cricketers, cricket, calypso music, Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago. All this thing binds us all together. Let's all welcome here today in ANM News, Mr. A.K. Sahu, Indian High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to ANM News, Mr. Sahu.
Thank you. Thank you and good evening.
Very good evening to you. Mr. Sahu, in Trinidad and Tobago, as we heard, as we know, Indian diaspora are doing very well there. And India has slowly entered into the Caribbean circuit, and it's a household name. People of Indian origin are doing very well in that country are a household name in India. So what is, if you just explain to us, how is the scenario there in Trinidad and Tobago?
Let me give you a snapshot of how the people of Indian descent and people of African descent live in this country. You know, as you know, this is the 175th year of the arrival of Indians from India. You know, so it's the first ship, which was Fatal Rajak, which came from Kolkata port at that time, landed here in 1845, to be exact 30th of May, bringing 225 indentured laborers, mostly from present-day Eastern UP and Western Bihar. And few years before, as you know, the slavery was abolished by the... and then this country actually started with two groups of people. The indentured laborers from India and the slaves who have been freed and given the rights. So these two communities actually built the nation. If you see the history of last 175, 180 years, 80 years, you will see these are the two communities. And then, you know, they live together, they in the same landmass. It's an island. And then Tobago became part of it. And then 1962, Trinidad and Tobago became independent of the colonial rule. And so this is only 58 years to this country as a parliamentary democracy. And in this whole scenario, the composition of population, demographic composition today is almost 43% of the Trinidad and Tobago population are of Indian descent. They are, you know, 18%, almost 18% Hindus, 5% Muslims, and others are the Presbyterians who are Christians, you know, because many of the missionaries came here from various parts of the world to work, to impart education and all this. So this is where the composition is. And you know, in the last, as you know, in the last 58 years, Indians, of course, as you said, Indians, because of their whole cultural and civilizational values of family and land. These are the two things which actually make them distinct from others in the region. You know, they are rooted to their land. So whatever land they got at that time, you know, they cultivated and they did all those things, typical the way Indians are, connected to the land and the family. So initially there were joint families, they stuck to each other and then worked for the betterment. And of course, being part of the 5,000 years of our, you know, educational system of learning, as I said, learning and teaching and Shruti and all those things that goes on into Indian civilization. You know, they believed in educating themselves and then got the best opportunities, exploited the opportunities of modern education And today, if you see in Trinidad and Tobago society, most of the, I must say, majority Indians, Indo-trainees, we call them Indo-trainees, are actually in the are professionals. They're very successful as academics, as doctors, engineers, as business people. They are very well connected to the North American and European circuit, which is
Absolutely. So here I wanted to make a point here is that cricket and Indians in cricket. I mean, we have heard about calypso music and cricket, and every family, trust me, every family in India knows about Brian Lara, knows about Brian Bravo, knows about Sunil Narayan. And Sunil Narayan was in fact hero worshipped in Indian Eden Gardens when he came here and various parts of India where he went and played. So there we see there's a huge connect between the music and the game between India and Trinidad and Tobago. So how do you see this and how do you take this forward?
I must also tell you a small story about the cricket connection. The earliest connection actually goes to Subhas Gupte. The first Indian team which visited Trinidad and Tobago, and that team had a leg spinner called Subhas Gupte.
Gupta, yeah,
And,
yeah.
yeah, he's the legendary.
Legendary
And he actually got married here, and then subsequently moved to Trinidad and Tobago. Coincidentally, his daughter, he's no more. He's no more. His wife is no more. But his daughter Caroline met me the last month and presented me a book called Love Without Boundaries. So our connection with in cricket with the Caribbeans and particularly with Trinidad and Tobago actually goes back to the first tour of Indian cricket team to this land. And of course, Brian Lara is a household name in India and here also. He's somebody who is like an idol in Trinidad and Tobago, in the whole Caribbean actually. And then you have Doyen Bravo and others who are, as you said. And after I took over in September last year, the first thing I actually could do is to send three under 16, two girls and one boy, to train in our National Academy of Cricket in Bangalore. And they went there and they stayed for 1 month. And I'm happy to tell you that both the girls who are sisters, they have been actually selected for the national team under 19. And the boy is already in the national junior team. So it's a huge experience for them, and then their parents actually told us that we are so grateful that at this young age, somebody who is looking cricket as a career, coming to India is like coming to Mecca, So I think they have immensely
Mecca of
valued.
world cricket that they call the India is the Mecca of world cricket. And absolutely. We had Robin Singh, who was born in Trinidad and Tobago, who came to India and played for India, but he also had his roots in Trinidad and Tobago. Apart from apart from the cricket, we have the calypso music, which is also very popular in India, very popular in Mumbai. And side by side, Bollywood is also very popular in Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I've heard. If you can run us through about Bollywood in the Caribbean, and especially in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Here, almost everybody actually listens to Bollywood beats, and many of them, I must also tell you that many of them do not actually understand the wordings, what is going on, but they understand the beats, the music, and there is something called chutney soka here. It's like calypso. It's a combination of calypso and all that. So the origin of chutney soka is actually is the folk music of Bhojpur. It's a Bhojpuri folk music, and it is also rooted in the Bhakti tradition of India, which is that the God is nameless, formless, attributeless. That kind of thing, which is in the eastern India and Bihar, Bengal, and Odisha, and all those areas where we had the Bhakti movement. So all those elements, so the dholak, harmonium and that dhantal, which they use in India, they still use in Trinidad and Tobago. It has become from a devotional aspect of the music. It has moved to more of a Western lambada combination, and then that's Indian Bollywood combination. So new hit, very popular Bollywood songs are remixed with different. So whenever you get a chance, if you travel to Trinidad and Tobago, you will not miss chutney music. It's in every taxi maxi and every place, and irrespective of what ethnicity they belong to, all of them enjoy this. It's like, they just get out of the car and just dance,
Enjoy.
dance and music is in the Caribbean. So you just,
Absolutely.
they have also, the annual celebrations of music. So so there also they have all these things. So it's a actually land which is full of music, full of dance and beats, and everybody on the if you go to Savannah in the evening, you get two three things. You get the music, you get coconut water, fresh, and you get something called doubles.
Okay.
Doubles is like puri. Let me put it this way. Doubles is something like puri chana, which you must have, because you are based in Kolkata, you must have eaten in your childhood.
Chana puri is like chana batora type.
Chana, but now we are calling in the northern India, we are calling chole bhature and bigger size and all this. But if you remember
Yeah.
younger days, you had four puri and then some chana given in a plate, and then you eat it. So something
Right.
like this. But that has also a genesis, which is very popular. It's like doubles is like Caribbean. It's like Trinidad and Tobago. You came and you didn't try doubles, and which is a street food. So there are vendors on the street. Then you didn't do anything.
Fantastic. Mrs. Sahu, you have traveled throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Can you just, for the benefit of our viewers, run us through about the place, the beauty of the place, and the areas there? What were you impressed, very impressed by the Trinidad and Tobago?
No, it's a combination of two islands, Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago is a small island of 60,000, almost 60,000 people. It's a very pristine island, Tobago. I must say, not impacted by any modernization or commercialization. Let me put it that way. And Trinidad is it's a historical port, as you say. Port of Spain is the historical port, and this is the center of the Caribbean network, actually. So it is through flights and through sea lines is connected to the South American network and the North American network. So Trinidad is actually the center of that connectivity to the whole Caribbean. The northern part is hilly terrain, and you have tracks, you have trekking and all those facilities, and you have also the Maracas beach, which is very very beautiful. And then the rest of the southern part is a plain where this is agriculture and greenery that you can actually see jungles. It's kind of a forest if you go down south, and you can always drive in 2.5 hours, 3 hours, the whole country from north to south. So but it's beautiful. It's surrounded by I think the pristine beauty of an island, I must say.
Okay,
And
great.
people irrespective of their allegiance, and people are very nice, very nice.
Absolutely.
Both the Afro trainees, Indo trainees, all those other people, everywhere they go, you don't see any harassment. You don't see all those. There are pockets, of course, in Port of Spain, where security and issues and all this. But I think that is identified, so they know where, and you also know where you don't want to venture. But I think rest of the country is absolutely beautiful. People are very, very educated, very civilized in terms of their behavior, the way they're very helpful in their, So I think the way you can infer the way West Indian cricketers or Trinidadian cricketers behave in India. Very, very. They're not very aggressive people, They may be aggressive on the cricket field,
But
but
they're very,
outside,
very flamboyant otherwise. Very
otherwise,
type of a person.
otherwise their life is good food, good music, and they take, in that spirit. And that's I could see some of the sixes that they hit. I could see why he's doing it.
Absolutely. Here, I also wanted to ask you something which is a little on the serious note. India is fighting a war against terror on all fronts, and we are going through a very, very critical phase. Now, Indian government has taken this war against terror throughout the world, and we have openly asked people to support us, to government to support our fight against terror. In Trinidad and Tobago, does Trinidad and Tobago support India's war against terror?
In a sense, actually, yes, because they are also they have some cases, but they are also concerned about this whole issue, and they have been always supportive of our initiatives, in multilateral fora and various other discussions as and when we have it. I think they have no disagreement. Let me put this way: they have no disagreement with us in terms of all those issues.
Absolutely. So this is a beautiful country only because of COVID-19. Now come to that. What is the situation of COVID-19 in Trinidad and Tobago?
No, they were in the beginning. I think they were able to, lock down the country and control this thing. But in the last 3 weeks after their general election, in 10th of August, after 10th August, actually the community spread had started. So, which is, initially when it started in March, April, there were only 7 deaths and they could control it. And they really managed it well. But after 10th of August, now, we have gone, they have gone to further lockdown. It's a kind of restriction, but not, the business is going as usual. They're opening the spaces, they're opening malls and all this, but with COVID protocol to be maintained everywhere you do your interaction. Gatherings have been restricted to 5 people. And on 12th of September, the Prime Minister will again take the stock of what is the situation. And in fact, the Prime Minister has been very clear that Trinidad and Tobago cannot afford a second lockdown. So my sense is they will not be going for any complete lockdown, but I think they'll try to slow it down, control the whole thing. And as as in any country, their medical facilities and all these are also will be overwhelmed if they don't control it. So I think they're managing it well. We have been our movement have been restricted. Our gatherings have been smaller, but as as us as a government organization of India, we are as mobile as digitally or physically, So we are working. We are.
So is there a possibility, because from what we gather and from whatever you're telling me and the feedback that I'm getting right now on my screen, people are asking, is there a possibility that Trinidad and Tobago is a beautiful tourist destination, will open up to people coming from India, people coming from outside in near future?
No, in fact, there is a visa-free regime for 90 days for Indians. Indians, ordinary passport holders, they can visit this country for 90 days without any visa. So, you have hotels, you have places, you have various other, you have so many temples. If you wonder, there are so many, the kind of, rest houses and all this, there are many of them. If you have the high end, you have the middle range, you have the lower range. So I think people in India, if they when we get out of the lockdown, I think they should travel to this place. And these are these are really really beautiful islands, and and of course, once you come from India, and you will see how Indians, uh, those who came from India so many years back, how they are living, and how they are maintaining their. If you have interest, they're maintaining their temples, how they do their rituals, how do there are many things. It's an eye opener, at least for me, when I traveled and saw these things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how long does it take from India or from this part of the world to go to Trinidad and Tobago?
See, it is three-way three possible ways that you can come. You can come via London, or via Newark, or via Toronto, or you can also connect to Miami, which is actually an hour and a half flight from here. So these are the popular routes that you can take. So and CPL is going on now, the Caribbean Premier League. Of course, it's in a bubble, so there are no crowd. But CPL is a good time. The carnival, the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, which happens sometimes in January, February. That's a big thing. So it's a huge. It's the biggest in Caribbean actually, and that's a season one. And the temperature here throughout the year is moderate. So it's between let's say 27 to 30-degree temperature throughout the year, and there are two seasons. Either it rains or it's dry. So 6 months it rains. From June to December it will rain, and after December it's dry from January to May. So February is a good time to come, and it's carnival time, so everybody is in that carnival.
Enjoyable mode, absolutely. Lastly, Mr. Sahu, what is your message? How do you plan to take things forward from tomorrow? What are your next plans post COVID-19? What are your next plans to take things forward in Trinidad and Tobago?
Oh, I have a comprehensive plan in all fields. Beside of course our high level engagements in the political level, I have also identified 6 commercial and economic sectors where I have been talking to people, business houses, the chambers, so that they can. I'm basically encouraging them to use Trinidad, the location of Trinidad, as a center point to reach out to both North and South America. Why? Because this has a time zone advantage. It's the same time as the New York time. So for a information technology center or information technology guy, it doesn't make a difference whether he is in Newark or in Trinidad in terms of work. And I'm happy that there is one company before the COVID which came and is doing well. And I'm working with the government here to tell them to convince them that there are Indian software companies who can come. One area is of course IT and ITES. The other one is biotechnology, which is agriculture, agrobiotechnology. And then new and renewable energy, which is another sector, which is wind and solar particularly. And these are some of the areas. I have identified 6 of them. I can talk later in a separate thing. Sure. But and culturally, of course, Holi, Diwali, everything happens here. And then I am also, there are 2 big programs that we run. One is the ITech program, Indian Technical Cooperation Program, under which in the last, I think, 5 years, we have sent almost 500 Trinidadians across ethnicity, both African and Indian. So to India to impart professional training, and which has been very, very successful. And we have also something called Know India program. Under the Know India program, we encourage the youngsters of Indian descent meaning any line, even if you have 25% of your relationship rooted in India, to go to India is completely hosted by Government of India, and then they come to India for 3 weeks and get a sense of where their ancestry was and all this. So these are, and then we have the ICCS scholarships, which is a big thing. I'm trying to promote that. Here, some of the professors are actually educated in India, but I want to increase those educational linkages. Science and technology research. University of West Indies is a very reputed university in the region, and they have good laboratories and good scientists. I want them to be connected with our lead, scientific community, so that both countries can work together on various issues. I think these are the areas that I'm looking at.
Absolutely. So basically, you've identified the areas from where you really moving
Yes.
forward in those directions, and you have very rightly pointed out Trinidad and Tobago is a beautiful country, and I can see from your face that you are very, very impressed with the way Trinidad and Tobago, people of Trinidad and Tobago live, and the culture and the ethnicity of the area.
Yeah.
We enjoy a very good relation with Trinidad and Tobago. I've also found out from the Mandarins in the South Block that India has a very good relation with the country. And thank you for sharing all your thoughts with us, Mr. Sahu. And we, on behalf of ANM News, we are always there with the Indian High Commission and also with the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And we also hope, and we have stepped up our information from Trinidad and Tobago after we had a talk with the people there. And from now on, we'll have more Trinidad and Tobago news in ANM News. That much we can say. And we're always there with you. And may the relationship between India and Trinidad and Tobago progress further. Thanks a lot once again, Mr. Sahu, and we'll keep coming back to you over and over again in future for more of such programs.
Thank you. It will be a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, and keep watching ANM News, and we'll come back to you with more such interviews in future.